Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2021 F2 Custom Season for Round 4 in Austria. So, we need to do better because in the first 3 rounds we've taken out our teammate, punted people off the track and rolled the car. So, hopefully we can stop doing that. We skip straight on to the end of qualifying as ever with this series, otherwise the videos would end up quite long. We do get pole position and that gives us a few more points in the championship fight, but we currently sit down in 6th position. Yuki Tsunoda leads the way at the moment, and we are 43 points adrift of the Japanese driver. So yeah, we really do need to lift our game in order to get ourselves back in the fight, because we have a lot of work to do in the remaining 2/3 of the season. Let's get into it.
It's race day here at Spielberg, and the drivers are making their final preparations down on the grid before lights out. Look around, it's a spectacular setting, and I'm sure today's race will do it justice. So Spielberg is one of the shortest laps on the F2 calendar, just 10 corners, 7 right and 3 left. Look out for the uphill braking zone into turn 3. That represents one of the better opportunities to overtake. Also turn 4 straight afterwards, and then the next one being all the way back round to turn 1. As usual, I'm joined by our good friend Davide Valsecchi as we soak up the dramatic scenery. Do you think the drama will continue onto the track today, Davide?
Ciao Alex, I think we can guarantee that. Austria has always been a track that encourages the driver to overtake and attack. But it's a low grip surface. The drivers out there today will have to make sure that the tiny mistakes don't end up hurting them later in the race.
Here are the starting positions for today's race. Sean Galeo lines up on pole position, and it's Yuki Tsunoda in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Schumacher, Sato, Kalamailot, and Dragovic, Armstrong, Piquet, Matsushita, Guan Yu Zhou, Schwartzman, Alesi, Artem Markelov, and Aitken, Delatraz, Lungard, Nissani, and Guilherme Samaya, Giotto, Tictum, Mazepin, and Jehan Daruvula completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
I will not let you down as we get ready to go to the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the feature race here in Austria. It's a great start for us, a great launch off the grid, and we will maintain our position heading down through turn 1 and up the hill for the first time towards turn 2 and 3 through the rise and fall of this circuit. Very much a small roller coaster, but a roller coaster nonetheless as we lead the way through turn 3 for the first time. A little bit slow through there actually, and a lot of wheel spin on the exit as we were not carrying the speed, and that still allows Tsunoda to get a run, who is also he also needs to watch out for Marino Sato behind, who's had a good start as we head down into turn 4 again early on the brakes, and Tsunoda straight up the inside, so we're a little bit cautious as we run wide there, and now Marino Sato gets through as well, so drop down into 3rd position. The 2 Japanese drivers now lead and run in 2nd position. Not sure where Matsushita is in this race at the moment, but I'm sure he's hanging around too. The 3 of them have been very strong this season so far, but now as we get close to the back of Marino Sato, we need to try and re-overtake him as soon as possible and chase down our championship rival once again. We need to beat Yuki Tsunoda in this race if we want to get back in the championship fight. We need to start taking points away because he has scored more than double what we have in this season so far. So we are desperately in need of some big points here. So let's see what we can do as we slide our way through turn 1, and that's going to give an opportunity to Felipe Drugovich, who's putting the pressure on, and he will be trying to make the move as we head up towards turn 3, and he's going to go up the inside if he's close enough. There he goes down the inside, and we leave him some room as we run ourselves wide out onto the runoff, just about get back on track before the grass, and we will slot in behind Felipe Drugovich. We have to watch out for Mick Schumacher, who's now down the inside to head into turn 4, laid on the brakes versus Mick Schumacher, who is later, and Schumacher gets through as we again run wide, drop 2 wheels in the dirt, and Mick Schumacher gets the position, and we're down into P5. So we're really not on form at the moment. We need to get our head back into the game if we want to get back into the fight for the lead or even for the podium at this point. But we get a great exit there despite taking a bit of a weird line. Mick Schumacher may be caught up in the dirty air from Felipe Drugovich, but unfortunately we don't have an opportunity to get through, and Mick Schumacher is going to hold on for now. But a good exit out of this final corner might be what we need, as we do get a nice switch onto the main straight, and now we're side by side with Mick Schumacher. We're going to try and go up the inside into turn 1. It's not the most ideal place to go for an overtake, but if we have the opportunity we'll go for it, as we just about squeeze through, and Mick Schumacher backs out of it, and he's very slow off the exit as Dan Ticktum comes into the pits earlier than what he would have wanted. He must have got some damage in the early phases, so unfortunate for Dan Ticktum, and he will now tumble down the order. I don't think we've even reached the lap where you're allowed to pit yet, the pit window opening lap, whatever they call it. Now anyway, we continue on, and we get up the inside of Felipe Drugovich into turn 9, very tight there on the inside, but we will get through on the Brazilian and move ourselves back up into the podium place. As you can see, Marino Sato not far ahead, but Yuki Tsunoda has been driving well in this race, and he's pulled away. But we continue on, and Drugovich sends it down the inside. A bit of contact on the apex. Was not expecting him to be there, but Drugovich was trying very, very hard to get the podium place back, but we hold on. Now we catch up to Marino Sato. We go to the outside into turn 3, and Sato late on the brakes as we try and square up the corner, get the power down on the exit, and we will get the better traction versus the trident driver. We move ourselves up into second position. Just Yuki Tsunoda ahead of us now, but he's way ahead, so we need to put some distance and good laps into this race if we want to chase down Yuki Tsunoda, but I think we can do it if we can keep up the consistency. We're going to do a bit of an undercut to see if we can gain some of that time back through an earlier pit stop, and see if that will get us maybe a second or so back on Yuki Tsunoda. Maybe more, depends how quick the tyre warm-up is on this circuit, and how long it takes for Yuki Tsunoda to respond. But yeah, we're coming into the pits, and we will make this stop onto our set of medium compound tyres, I believe, that we're putting on. There are of course only 2 tyre compounds in Formula 2, but actually hards it is that we move on to rather. But yes, only 2 tyre compounds to worry about as we get the power down on pit exit, and we will rocket our way down towards first corner through this kind of awkward pit exit, and now we need to push absolutely flat out in order to get this undercut and maximize this undercut on Yuki Tsunoda. So let's see a fastest lap of the race for us as we continue to push on, and you can see we have caught up to Yuki Tsunoda some laps later, so that undercut did gain us some time, and now we have a decent amount of pace on these tyres versus Yuki Tsunoda. I've never liked the softer compounds. I always feel much more comfortable on the hards, and we go up the inside very deep. We're almost missing the apex there, but we get through on Yuki Tsunoda, who is stuck and beached on the outside curb, and he could not get the power down very efficiently there as we sent it up the inside. Great job by Tsunoda to see us coming there, and yeah, stuck on the outside there on that curb. It's very difficult to get the power down. He's going to come back at us though. Down the inside goes Tsunoda. We're going to try and switch it back to the inside, but we can't get the power down either on the inside, and Tsunoda gets through. We have a good slipstream though. Can we get back past Yuki as we head up towards turn 4? We're a long way back, but we're going to go for it down the inside into turn 4, and we'll get the move done just about on the inside line, and we will get back ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. This is turning out to be a great battle with our title rival. Not even our title rival, we're not in the title fight at the moment. It's what we're fighting to do, and we're trying to get a race win here, because that will really help our chances of getting back into that title fight as we get up on the exit curve there. And you can see Tsunoda has not let up. He is still right behind us, and he's going to try and go for the move down the inside into turn 3. He might get it done through turn 2, round the outside, and he does, as we have to take a bit of avoiding action, go off circuit there. I thought he was going to chop across us. He didn't in the end, but it was very, very close. Now, on the next run towards turn 4, we may have an opportunity once again to come back at Sonoda. We're close, he defends. We're going to go to the outside, but we're a little bit cautious as we didn't have a lot of space to work with, and Sonoda is going to hold on once again. We continue on up towards turn 3. Once again, late on the brakes down the inside is a great corner to be able to do that, and we square up the corner on the inside, get the power down, and we once again retake the lead of this race. And all this fighting will probably bring some other cars into the fight very soon. Meanwhile, behind us, Artem Markelov retires from the race with a mechanical failure, unfortunate for the Russian, and he is out of the Austrian feature race. Now, as we continue on, Yuki Tsunoda back down the inside, so we had a bit of a wobble on the exit, but we're going to try and squeeze back up the inside, not going to work into turn 9, and Yuki Tsunoda retakes the lead of this one, but this fight is far from over. We've got the DRS and we're very close as we head up towards turn 1. Tsunoda defends all the way to the inside. We switch back to the outside as we head up towards turn 1, around the outside of the first corner, and we're going to try and keep it there, and we do, and get back ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. But now he is going to have the advantage in the slipstream. He may be able to get back past us straight away as we stick as close to the left hand side as we can. Now we give him the outside line as we head into the braking zone late on the brakes, and we maintain the position just about as we are defending very, very harshly there, but we do thankfully stay ahead of Tsunoda as we get a bit distracted and get a few wheels on the dirt. No harm done there. We continue on, and Jack Aitken retires from the race with a mechanical failure. Didn't catch that one on the replay cameras, but that won't really have any effect on our race. No safety car due to that. We continue on, and we have done enough in this one, and as we head around the final 2 corners, we were able to pull away from Tsunoda in the latter stages of the race, and now we are going to come across the line to take the win here in Austria.
Absolutely awesome, just amazing, well done.
And that is exactly what we needed in this race. Maximum points, and our title hopes are starting to come back.
A great win then for the Dams team today. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
I think they kept a cool head. That's why they won today. Smooth, steady, everything bad that happened to them, they handled it calmly and professionally. That's what let them focus on getting the best out everything else. The car, the strategy, they managed to keep out of trouble the whole way around.
Dams, another team with a huge amount of history based right in the heart of motorsport near Le Mans in France, have once again shown their formidable abilities out on the track with yet another win today.
Well, there we have it. We take the win here. It is Yuki Tsunoda in 2nd position with Mick Schumacher in 3rd.
Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I'd say Roy Nissany. He was committed the entire race, and it's paid off with the result.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Well, there we have it. We have rocketed all the way up to 2nd in the standings, but we are still 34 points away from Yuki Tsunoda, so his consistency in this season is something to behold. That is some incredible number of points he has attained in the opening 7 races of the season. But of course we still have 1 race left in this episode, the sprint race. We will start from reverse grid, not reverse grid pole. That would happen if we finished 8th. We'll start from 8th, and Yuki Tsunoda from 7th, so we have a good chance of beating Tsunoda in that race as well, so that of course will be the target. I'm not actually sure who gets reverse grid pole in this one, but we'll find out when we get to the grid of the sprint race. But yeah, overall couldn't be happier with that race. a few mistakes here and there, but we managed to make amends for those and re-overtake Sonoda whenever he got back past us. But it was very, very, very quick in that race. In fact, we both were pushing each other very hard, and we were really not challenged by other cars too much. After those opening phases, Sonoda pulled away. We managed to close the gap with the undercut and a few fast laps on new tyres. But yeah, ever since we started fighting in the second stint, we really were unchallenged by the rest of the field. Of course, as you can see on screen, we had a few fights with some other cars in the early phases as we were getting up to speed on the soft compound tyres. As I said, not a huge fan of those, to be honest. Much happier on the harder compounds. But yeah, there's one of the mistakes, as I mentioned, coming out of turn 7 or 8. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, we did eventually get back past Sonoda and made amends for all of that. So yeah, couldn't be happy with the result from this one, and look forward to seeing what we can do in the sprint race. But a bit of news on the weather front, because there is a bit of rain forecast in the sprint race towards the end, so that could make things very spicy indeed. So let's get into the sprint race and see what unfolds in that one.
Welcome back for the final event of the weekend, the sprint race. Here, the top 8 from yesterday's feature race are reversed to make up the grid below us, and in just a few minutes, those drivers will be hurtling down into turn 1.
So here we are on the grid then for the sprint race in Austria. You can see the rain coming around 20 minutes to half an hour into the race. So it'll be interesting to see if we need to switch to the wet tyres right near the end. That will be one of the interesting points towards the end of this race. But at the start, we're starting from 8th with Yuki Tsunoda alongside us in 7th. So we have a challenge right away as we go to the 5 red lights. And away we go for the sprint race in Austria. It's a good start versus Yuki Tsunoda as we try and drag our way up the field immediately, as Marcus Armstrong got away with a bad start, as Drogovic and Schumacher are trying to get on either side of the Kiwi driver, as Tsunoda's got a good exit on the outside of turn 1, and we're drag racing our championship rival up towards turn 3. Mick Schumacher as going to get ahead of Felipe Drogovic. Armstrong holds on from both of those. We go up the inside of Drogovic, stay ahead of Tsunoda, we climb over the inside curb, and that's given us a horrible exit with no traction over that very bumpy surface. Tsunoda's got an even worse exit than us up on the outside, but can we make a move on Felipe Drogovic down the inside? We get the move done with the help of a bit of slipstream from the Brazilian earlier on in the straight, and now we get our way up into 6th position with Mick Schumacher up ahead, and Marcus Armstrong getting away with that bad start and holding off Schumacher and Drogovic, who went to either side of him into the first corner. So Schumacher defends as we try to get up the inside, and we pull out of that move very late in the piece, and sort of bail out of the corner on the inside. I wasn't sure if he was going to leave the space after he sort of chopped across. You can see there that little movement, and that really put me off heading into the corner, and I thought I was about to smash into the side of him mid-apex there, but thankfully we avoided any contact, but we had to really pull far to the left very slowly to make sure we didn't make that contact. Now we charge up the inside and get the move done with a bit of a wag of the tail at the exit of turn 3, but we get ahead of Mick Schumacher and finally clear the German driver, and we move ourselves up and into 5th position. We continue on though, and a bit of a slide on the exit of turn 1, and that's going to give Mick Schumacher an opportunity to come back at us. So this fight with Mick Schumacher, who is, to be fair, in the championship fight as well, is going to continue. Caution up ahead though, and what is going on with the cars in the top 4? A engine failure there for Marino Sato, who was running in the podium places. Disaster for one of the other title contenders in this series, and he is out of the race, unfortunately for Marino Sato, who's had a very strong start to the season, but he is out of the sprint race in Austria with smoke pouring out of that engine. We continue on, and now we're getting warnings for some rain in the distant future, but we have more current concerns, and the first one of those is Marcus Armstrong. We go around the outside of the New Zealander and get ahead of him and move ourselves up into 3rd position rather, with Sato out of the race as well it is just Guan Yu Zhou and Nobuharu Matsushita in front of us as we continue our defense of Mick Schumacher, who's trying to make a double overtake. He got Marcus Armstrong and trying to get past us at the apex. We managed to hold on though as Schumacher gets a bad exit, but he did get past Marcus Armstrong, so a good move there from Schumacher, but he almost got us as well. So that was a nice one from him, but we need to try and leave him behind and try and close the gap to the race leaders, Guan Yu Zhou and Nobuharu Matsushita, who start fighting for the race lead as we continue on. Matsushita down the inside of the Chinese driver, and they're going to run side by side as they head towards turn 4. Rain still imminent in the future, around 15 minutes, but now we focus on this fight. Matsushita just barely pulling ahead down the inside, and he might just be able to squeeze through here, and he does. Guan Yu Zhou pulls out of it, and Matsushita takes the lead here in Austria, and he leads the sprint race. And let's see if he can continue to do so now. Right on the back of Guan Yu Zhou as we have a look to the inside, and we'll just about squeeze into a gap we make much wider than it was, and we get ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. A very robust overtake, you might say, but we made it work. We continue on and catch up to Matsushita. We could be fighting for 2 wins in one weekend. That's not a very common thing to do in Formula 2, but we're fighting for that opportunity, and we do get past Matsushita, but I am sure he will come back at us very shortly, and with the help of DRS that will be not particularly difficult, because 3 DRS zones around this circuit is a large percentage of what is quite a short lap. So as we continue on, you can see we are on the defensive at the moment as the 2 behind are piling on the pressure. We run a bit wide, and Matsushita gets through along with Guan Yu Zhou, and we drop down into 3rd position. Not too different to what happened on lap 1 of the first race, to be honest, and we need to now fight back once again in this one, as Guan Yu Zhou is actually very close to the back of Matsushita as we get a big slide on the exit of turn 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever corner that is. That's turn 7, I think, but I'll learn these one day as we continue to hold off Mick Schumacher and just about maintain 3rd position, and now we can refocus once again on the top 2, but yeah, we need to once again close the gap, and we do so later on. There's a big slide on the exit though of turn 1, and that's a big mistake for us, because now Schumacher is going to get past in a straight line, and there's no way we can defend from that amount of straight line speed advantage. Schumacher gets through, but we're going to see if we can get a good exit out of turn 3 and get a nice run towards turn 4. We seem to have nice traction here, and we will get the DRS advantage from the back of Mick Schumacher, although he's not too far behind Guan Yu Zhou, and he gets it as well. As we head down towards turn 4, we go back up the inside and Mick Schumacher and get that move done once again. But you can see Guan Yu Zhou really putting the pressure on Matsushita, so those 2 very even on pace, and they are going to continue to fight as we catch up to Guan Yu Zhou, and now it's only a few minutes away from the rain, so now things are getting crucial. We want to get track position before it starts raining, because I'm not as confident in my pace in the wet conditions, so we're going to try and take these positions now as we continue the fight with Guan Yu Zhou. But Mick Schumacher now down the inside. He's got a great run on both of us, and Schumacher's down the inside. We're going to try and straighten up the exit and get a good exit versus the 2 of them, but we did that a little bit too late, and we were a bit too deep into the corner, and that did not work out for us. Guan Yu Zhou does just about hold off Mick Schumacher as he defends. Schumacher goes to the outside, and they're going to keep this fight going down into turn 4. Guan Yu Zhou on the inside, and he will just about hold off Mick Schumacher. And now we've got a run on the German driver as we're going to try and squeeze up the inside, and there's no space there through turn 5. Mick Schumacher holds on as we run very wide, and that is us off the circuit in the gravel track, and we are off and now spinning. And to compound our issues, we're not going to be able to get on track for a while with a whole field of cars going past. There's no gaps, and we have to just sit and wait for the entire field to go past. Jane Deruvala is the next car behind us. He had to make a pit stop, I think, earlier in the race, and he is not even too far behind us now, as our tyres are covered in gravel and junk from off circuit, and they'll take a moment to clear up, but you can see that happening already. But that is an absolute disaster for us. We've gone from fighting for the lead to fighting for last position with Deruvala if he does catch up to us. So now we need a comeback drive of a lifetime.
9.5 seconds.
just our teammate alone, who isn't even running that high in this race, is 9 seconds ahead of us as we cut the first corner, starting to push hard in this one and trying to throw everything at it. We continue on and we do eventually catch up to Artem Markelov in this race, so he is a little way off the back of the field as well, so I think he must have had some issues at some point in this race. But you can see now the rain here as we get a few minor audio issues. Always happens when we follow Russian drivers. I don't know what the correlation there is, but it is something I have noticed strangely across this series.
We expect you'll be noticing a bit of grip loss in the tyres around now, so just be careful.
No kidding. There's water on the track. Of course there's going to be some grip loss. Anyway, we continue on and continue our chase of Artem Markelov, but I decided we're not going to score points as things stand, so why not chuck the car into pit lane, chuck some wet tyres on. Track is getting to that stage where it is very wet. There's not a lot of time left in this race though, so that is the only caveat. We don't have a lot of time to make up for this pit stop. We're only going to have 4 laps on the wet compound tyres, but if it continues to rain and the track continues to get wetter, we will be on the correct tyres. It's around the crossover point now, maybe even a lap too late. So I think we may be onto something here. If we can get into the top 10, even if it's only 9th or 10th, we won't score the points for those positions, but if we can break into that top 10, our fastest lap that we have at the moment will give us 2 points if we can get into that top 10, so that is the target. So let's just go on an absolute charge. You can see how wet the track is. I am sure these are the correct tyres now looking at this track surface, and after just a few laps we catch Jay Darubala, and on the previous lap we caught him by about 6 seconds, so these are well and truly the correct tyres to be on. The other drivers will not pit now. It's too close to the end of the race, so we have everything going for us. Here's a replay of that move on Darubala, and you can just see how much speed we can carry into the corner versus the Indian driver, and that is why you need to be on the correct tyres at the correct time. And now our next target is this man up ahead of us, Artem Markelov. We haven't switched to him yet. There he is, and this whole train of cars on the slick tyres ahead of him. There is Artem Markelov in the spray, and he is currently sitting a few seconds up the road, but with 2 laps to go, that is plenty of time with our pace advantage to close up to the back of the Russian driver. And you can see a tyre screeching in the background as we're pushing the limits as well. But you can see Markelov here through the middle sectors towards the end of that middle sector, and we're not far behind now. You can see the gap is coming down so quickly to this group of cars ahead of us, back to looking at Markelov, and you can see this whole crew of cars as they're heading towards the start of the final lap. They're all slipping and sliding, all struggling for grip, all traveling very, very slowly, even through high-speed corners like this one. They're not being able to carry any speed, and now we're pretty much on the back of the train as we continue this push towards the end of this race. If we can make an insane number of overtakes on this final lap, we could do something special here as we continue to watch this group of cars. And that is Christian Lundgaard losing control on the straight, and that is the disadvantage of slick tyres on a wet track. Christian Lundgaard out of control, out of the first corner now for us, and we get past Artem Markelov. And now with 1 lap to go, we have about 6 more overtakes to make with Lundgaard off the road as well. We might be able to do this. 8 more overtakes, I should say, as we get around the outside of 2 cars at once, as we have to go a little bit off circuit to make it work, as Aitken and Mazepin were both understeering in the wet conditions. We've still got a good enough exit though to challenge Dan Ticktum towards turn 4. We're going to go side by side with our teammate Roy Nassani, and Guilherme Samaya up ahead as well. We charge down the inside of Roy Nassani and get the move done on him, and on the exit we're going to have the traction to get past Guilherme Samaya. That puts us up into 13th. Now looking at the race leader Matsushita, he's lost the rear end on the curb. Nobuharu Matsushita on the final sector of the final lap has thrown it away. We get up the inside of Luca Giotto as we head through the final sector now for the final time. Matsushita spun as well, so there's another position for us. Delatraz is slow. We get that one. Now we're up into 10th. We're going to score points in this race, and now around the final corner comes Guan Yu Zhou, who's made it through the chaos, and he will just about hold on the slick tyres to win the sprint race here in Austria. Well deserved. But now for us through the final 2 corners. We might be able to gain one more place. It won't be for any points, but we'll see what we can do as we try and line this one up the inside. Not quite going to get there on Giuliano Alesi, but on the exit he's got no traction. We've hardly got any, but it was enough to get past Alesi, and we get up into the 9th place.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And what a finish that was in that race. That was incredible stuff. Luca Giotto gets the driver of the day.
Brilliant stuff from Uni Virtuosi today. That's another historic win. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Although the Formula 2 cars are all the same spec, the winner just looked better out there. It would have been a combination of getting those tires up to running temperature faster and driving to the condition on track. They made it look easy out there today.
And now it's time to wind down and celebrate after that fantastic race. Here they come, your top 3 out onto the podium.
So there we have it. Guan Yu Zhou wins the sprint race here in Austria. Mick Schumacher finishes in 2nd position. Marcus Armstrong finishes in 3rd.
Now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
I think it has to be a Luca Giotto. You know, good on tires, some nice passage. I can't really think of anyone who could my ass more today.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Alright, so before we get into the regular highlights, we'll take a look at a few from the final lap on board with Matsushita here. You can see big lose through the end of the 2nd sector, and then an even bigger one here where he eventually spun. But you can see how little grip there was for these slick tyre runners, and I mean, no wonder he had that spin. He had absolutely nothing underneath him. He is on board with Yuki Tsunoda, our title rival, and that was a big moment for him too, through the same corner. So a lot going on there, and he had to leave space on the inside because someone else was trying to get up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda as he had to take avoiding action of Matsushita there. Here's the onboard with Felipe Drugovich, who, as Tsunoda lost the back end there, Drugovich had a reasonably good exit, got up the inside, and then himself went way too deep into the corner and made a bit of a mess of that. So yeah, they're all sliding all over the place, and very lucky for Drugovich and Tsunoda that they didn't make contact with each other. And of course, Christian Lundgaard having that spin on the final lap as well, and that was in a straight line. So yeah, they had absolutely no grip for all of them, and a great effort by Guan Yu Zhou, Mick Schumacher and Marcus Armstrong to get through and hold on to podium places for them. Unfortunate for Matsushita to lose it right at the last moment, but not exactly a surprise with how little grip they had out there. But for us, we managed to salvage a handful of points with that fastest lap working out for us, and we get 2 points for our efforts. We sit now 40 points behind Yuki Tsunoda in the championship. We dropped down the order a few places as well after that, but the crucial thing is it's this weekend is a net gain for us. Overall, we did gain points from start of the weekend to the end, so that is a positive we can take. Despite this last race not really going to plan, it still was decent overall for us in terms of the feature race result, which of course was a win. We took a lot of points then. We took pole position, that was even more points, so still plenty to take away from this one. And there's the aftermath of the spin where we had to rejoin the circuit and almost spun again, to be completely honest. But yeah, that call to go onto the wet tyres was absolutely the right call. There's no way we would have made our way into the top 10 without doing that, so that really made the final lap something special for us, and indeed a little chaos for everyone else. Even without the spins for Lundgaard and for Matsushita, we wouldn't have made it into the top 10, so that is another consideration as well, that those mistakes in the wet conditions on the slick tyres handed us those 2 positions. We may have got past Lundgaard anyway. I'm not sure where he was running in the field before he spun, But yeah, for Matsushita, there's no way we were catching him another lap, and we may have. That is the pace advantage that we had on those wet tyres at the end. They were just so much better than the slicks, but yeah, just ran out of laps. But still, to score points, very happy. But other than that, then I've been rambling on for way too long, so I will say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time for the next round of Formula 2. Goodbye.